This is Al. Happy New Year. It's January the 4th, 2021. I wanted to give you a quick update. I have been doing a tiny bit of work on the Rolls Royce, and I'll give you a general update on the rest of what's going on in my little hobby shop. So I've been struggling with this Rolls Royce a little bit because I was trying to get it to not overheat. It started running well, and then it wouldn't run well, and then I figured out that when it was not running well, it was because it was running low on gas, which, makes sense. Added a bit more gas and it started running well again, which is great. But it would start running really hot, and I wasn't, when I put my hand behind the radiator, I wasn't feeling that much heat. And obviously the radiator wasn't giving me, the temperature sender in the car wasn't giving me any kind of information, any kind of feedback. So I was starting to panic because I thought to myself, well, maybe we cracked the cylinder head or did something stupid like that. In the end, what I figured out was that there was still air in the system. And because there was air in the system, it would just start overheating, and it was just a pain in the rear to bleed. I ended up taking it outside. I got two jacks, one on either side. So this is important because if you guys have one of these cars and you need to bleed the system, the cooling system out, this is the only way I was able to do it. I know that there's some recommendations that people recommend, on the forums, but this works, and this is not that hard once you know what to do, and once you figure out what you need to do. The idea is just to jack the car up as high as possible. So I got two trolley jacks, I put one on one side, one on the other side. I just jacked the car up so that the nose was pointing all the way up in the air, and then I let the system bleed. When I saw the coolant level rise, I would squeeze the hose and kind of let the air out of the system, help the air get out of the system. And sure enough, I was able to start feeling hot air go through the radiator. When I put my hand behind the radiator, I could feel it. And what I also noticed, which a lot of people are saying that they never get, which is the auxiliary fans started going on as well, which is kind of interesting because the auxiliary fan sender is all the way on top. And if there was air in the system, it would probably be there, which is why the fan never goes on for a lot of people. So I was able to figure that out. So let me just take the camera off. So what did I end up doing? So there's a couple of things that I needed to do. First thing I needed to figure out was why the temperature sender was just reading incorrectly. So I figured out that there was no air in the system, which is why it was reading 0. But I also found out that the wiring was so badly damaged. Let me see if I can get underneath and show you. The wiring was so badly damaged on the temp sender that I wasn't able to fix the wiring. I mean, basically the wiring wasn't connecting, it wasn't working. So I ended up basically replacing both the temp sender and and fixing the wiring up. I got another wire and I attached a new spade connector on it, and now the temp sender all works properly. Of course, this was after I bled the system. I bled the system, and in order to get to that temp sender, I had to basically take off this thermostat housing again. I had to bleed the system again, which sucked, but it was fine. I needed to replace a thermostat anyway. I figured out an alternative part number for the temp sender, which was readily available here in the US. It actually matches a temperature sender on a 1980 MGB. So I was able to use that temp sender. Now I get good reading from the gauges, which is great. I use a Stant thermostat for the replacement thermostat. I didn't go with the Rolls Royce one. What I found out is that the Stant is compatible with, if you're looking for a Stant thermostat, the best way to look for it is to look for a 1981 BMW 528i, the one with the M30 engine. It's basically an early BMW M30 car. will use that same thermostat. But careful what you buy, because I did also buy a ColorStat thermostat and it didn't fit perfectly, but I ordered a stand and it fit fine. So that's the other thing that we needed to get figured out, and I put that on. What else did I do? I gave the engine a good steam cleaning. I didn't want to pressure wash it because that can create problems in itself. So I just went a little bit at a time and basically cleaned with a Scotch-Brite pad and a plastic brush, and then used my steam cleaner to do the rest, and it's come out pretty nicely. It looks pretty good. The only problem I'm having right now is the fan clutch. I can't get that fan clutch off for love or money. I've tried using a strap wrench. This is my big 1 1/4 inch socket to get the fan clutch off. I tried using one of these gear wrench fan clutch holding tools, you know, that hold the pulley. Didn't work. I also bought this air tool kit. Basically, this thing attaches to your air hammer, and it didn't work either. Well, you can see it busted up the actual wrench pretty badly. So you know, that kind of didn't work out, and I'm still trying to figure that part out. So that's been a royal pain in the rear. It's really the last part that I have left on this car, that and a minor exhaust leak, and then everything can go back together. I need to go out and get some gas for it pretty soon. But I wanted to give you an update on the rest of the shop. So I need to work through a couple of electrical issues on the Cadillac. It has an aftermarket alarm that's there's an alarm light that came on that has me a little bit worried, because obviously if you leave that light on, it'll drain the battery, so I need to get that figured out. I've dragged out my 300 TE, and I'm trying to get it ready to sell. So right now it's up on the lift so that I can do some front end work on it. I need to do the ball joints and the the tie rods on it, because it doesn't drive that well with what it's got right now. And I've also been I actually sold 4 cars this last month, so I've been trying to make some space so I can work. So one of the things I did is I cleared up all the space over here, which was full of old car parts, sheet metal, hoods, fenders, doors, whatever. All that stuff is gone, and I've put up these 2 industrial size shelves and basically stuffed everything on these shelves. So, you know, I have a bunch of sheet metal parts from, you know, cars that I've dismantled over the years: 108s, 109s, 114s, 107s, 126s, 210s, 220s, you know, all of those stuff. And you always end up selling the small bits and pieces pretty quickly, but the doors and the fenders and the hoods and the trunk lids are always hard to sell. But what I did is I pulled them all out, took pictures of them, and then stuffed them up on these shelves, and I'm going to start listing the stuff on eBay, seeing maybe if I can find somebody who will buy some of the stuff. Everything off these cars is all, these cars are all Texas cars, so, you know, everything's rust free. I'm pretty sure if I shipped the stuff in a shipping container to England, I'd save somebody a pile of money who was trying to restore an old 126 or a 107 or a 108 or something like that. But yeah, it's out of my way right now. It's over here in this back part of the building, and you know, I can try to sell it, and if it sells, great, and if it doesn't, it's out of my hair. And then lastly, I've been replacing all these 8-foot fluorescent lights with LED bulbs, and that requires you to bypass the ballasts and just basically run them straight into straight to the power, to the 110. But they produce so much light. It's so much nicer with these. I mean, you can see this. Well, I don't know whether you can see it that well on the camera, but if you compare this guy, which is a fluorescent tube, with this guy, which is an LED, I mean, it's a huge difference. So I've been working on that. So that's pretty much what I got up to over the Christmas period, and so that's pretty much my update. Like I said, I got rid of about 4 cars, and I'm trying to get rid of a few more. I did add one as part of this process. I actually added 2 in the last few months, but I haven't given you guys an update on that one yet. I will try to do it this weekend. It's a really nice car, in my opinion at least. One of my nicer purchases, because I usually buy cars that I end up having to work on for months and ends, and this one I can just get in and drive. So that's about it really. I don't really have much more of an update to give you. Next weekend, I should be able to update you on that new car purchase, and hopefully you'll like it. All right, thank you very much. Take care.